everyone. I'm Rosi Molefe. I am the author of the novel Tlhalefo, The Whisper of Hope Beyond Brokenness. Today, I'm with Active and Demand, and we're going to be talking all things Tlhalefo, all things hope, and health all around. Okay, so with Tlhalefo, it's also a very fun book to read. Some of my readers, I'd get texts at like 2 a.m. or DMs on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Somebody would be on chapter 10. What the hell? What am I reading? What's happening? And all that, it's actually a very interactive book. I tried to make it as relatable, as I can, mostly because, as much as I'm a writer, I'm a reader. I love anything that has to do with reading. I love African fiction more than anything, right? But as a reader, I would always struggle with maybe relating to my books, just finding Rosi, maybe I can just compare her to a certain character and all that. So with Tlhalefo, you would see also in my reader message, there's like this first page where I dedicated a whole message to my readers. I did say I wrote this book with nothing but you in my mind, because I do believe in each and every character, even if it's just one tiny quality. You might find something, that's similar to you, something that you can relate to and all that. So it makes me happy when I get such text, oh my God, I see, I don't know, a Renee in me or whatever. It's really, so Tlhalefo is the name of the protagonist, so the main character of the book, right? We've got three protagonists in the book. It's Tlhalefo, Botlhale, her younger sister, and Tsebo, Tlhalefo's partner. So Tlhalefo comes from a very dysfunctional family. She's had to take responsibility from a very young age when she lost her father. She doesn't know her mother. Her mother left them, at a very young age. So when her father passed on, she took the responsibility to take care of Botlhale, the younger sister. She did everything she could, and that's where her mental health issues stemmed from, actually, just the pressure, the dysfunctionality and all that. There was a point where she had to get admitted to a mental facility. There was a point where the law threatened to take away her sister because, she was unfit to be her guardian and all that. But throughout all that, she was able to, pick herself up, dust herself off, create a better life for both herself and her sister. Again, reach her full potential as a marketing professional, get her degree, make her father proud, right? So just a twist to the story, Tlhalefo would always have these dreams that only she knows about. She can't even understand, but she'd always see her father in them or hear, her father, until she got to understand at a very later, point in the book what the dreams meant and the action she needed to take and all that. And, in the midst of it all, she finds love. So there's a bit of romance in the book. She finds love. It was very shaky at first because even Tsebo, her partner, has a very dark past. Some demons from the past, some skeletons in the closet. So before they can move forward with life and achieve whatever they want to achieve, they both need to face the demons in the past that they've been outrunning all this time. So it's a very, it's a roller coaster of emotions, just them confronting their past while trying to still maintain their present and building their future. But, in the end of it all, they do, there's redemption. And like I said, there's hope at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, so that's basically it. I don't want to give too much. Just get the book and read all about it. So firstly, Tlhalefo is a contemporary fiction novel. I wrote it like 2 to 3 years back when I was still in varsity. So, just the birth of this whole story. I wrote this book while I was in a very dark, place in my life. I was battling depression, just mental issues as a whole. And I'm an introvert, actually, so I don't really talk much. And, it was also at a time when I had to adapt to a whole new environment. There was a lot of changes in my life, so I didn't have those people I could confide in or find comfort in. So as a true introvert, I started journaling. So I would write, just my thoughts, my feelings, what I'm going through, and all that and all that. And that's how my love of storytelling, began. So started with short stories here and there because I wouldn't like writing about myself. It would cringe me so much, So I just like form a character in my head and write about them, but relating them to my experiences, right? And yeah, so that's how I began with storytelling and short stories. Then with Tlhalefo, it's mainly based on my life and the things I experienced, but like I said, just a different character, right? There are obviously a few twists here and there just to make it more interesting since it is fiction. But just the intention of this novel, as much as it's just fiction, I just want to send out a message that no matter what happens, no matter how dark of a place you might think you're in, this light at the end of of the tunnel, hope will always whisper, and that's Tlhalefo. Okay, I'm more of an observer more than anything. So usually, or most of the time, I do draw inspiration from my surroundings. The things I see, the people around me, their experiences, my experience, and all that. And I mean, it's no secret that we are in the digital age. Most of the information you need, you just go online. Right now, social media is growing as a platform, and it just makes me so happy that more people are talking about mental health. It's not as taboo as it used to be, like a few years ago and all that. So you would just go on TikTok or Instagram, maybe somebody's talking about their depression, their journey with anxiety and all that. And just with myself, it's something I am experiencing, it's something I am living with. So in terms of my research, I would just relate it to my experiences and some of the people around me and the stories I find online. And I think just the main thing is just breaking the stigma around mental health, right? That a person who's living with mental health or who's struggling with certain issues cannot be functional or operational, right? We are able to, be part of the society. We are able to function as normal. I think the only difference is that maybe we're living with certain disorders, different disorders here and there. But yeah, I think just to break that stigma that we aren't functional. So you would remember, at the beginning of our conversation, I did say, me writing Tlhalefo was more of an outlet in what I was going through. So it's mainly my experiences. There is a bit of creativity here and there since it's fiction. So I added, a bit of twists here and there to make it more fun, more interesting. But the book is mainly influenced by my past, my family dynamics here and there, and my journey with mental health. So firstly, the issue of functionality, like I mentioned earlier on, like people living with mental disorders aren't able to function and be part of the society. Pure lies. We are able to blend in and do what we need to do. Secondly, people living with mental disorders aren't able to reach their full potential. Those are lies. Again, it goes back to the message I was trying to convey with this book, that it's fine, you are not normal as the next person, or maybe your experiences and the things that you went through and all that, but that doesn't stop you in reaching your goals, your dreams, your full potential, all the things you've wanted to do in life, right? It's just a matter of with mental health, before you are diagnosed with it, maybe let's say depression, anxiety, or even bipolar disorder, it can be sort of a challenge for you because you don't understand what's wrong with you. You just know that you're different from other people, right? So it's like, I don't know, you can't fit in with the society and all that. So that is the most challenging part, actually, until after diagnosis. Then when this is what's wrong with you, then comes the maintenance and treatment part, right? You understand your symptoms better. You understand, when I feel like this is coming. When I don't feel like this is what it means, right? For those who are on meds, when to take your meds and all that in order to suppress any kind of emotions or to just take care of yourself, right? again, like I said, the most challenging part is that before you are diagnosed. After diagnosis, it's just a matter of maintenance. You're as good as, the next person, right? So that is the most, like, people just get that wrong. You are able to reach your full potential as long as you're able to maintain yourself. Exactly. And then I'm going to just move on to storytelling, specifically fiction. The most misconception people have about fiction is that it's just, what can I say, the most playful genre of the writing industry, right? Um, it is, because it comes from your head most of the time, but with fiction, I think it's a very special genre of writing, since there's a lot of creativity that comes in it, and also how some of the authors I've worked with or I've shared spaces with will tell you most of the things they write are based on their personal experiences, the things they went through, their own surroundings and all that. So fiction is just, a creative way of educating people, creating an impact on the world, just in a creative way. So yeah, I think those would be like my top 3 misconceptions people have. So the functionality of people with mental disorders, people not reaching their full potential, and just the critique fiction gets. This is a question I get asked all the time, and I never know how to answer it, but I love it. So good news is I am actually working on my second book. It's a very fun book, definitely, light-hearted than Tlhalefo. So, it's just mainly based around my university experience, or just the experience of the usual South African university student, the obstacles they come across, the things they get up to and all that. It's a very fun, light-hearted, also fiction, a fiction writer, and I feel that's where most of my creativity went, because yeah, those were the fun times, and yeah, I just had to relive some of those moments and all that. But yes, there is a second book coming. I can't tell you when, how, whatever. You'll just see when I release it. But yeah, it's definitely coming. So with Tlhalefo, for my ebook readers, I know there are those who love ebooks and not hard copies. You can get it on Amazon.com, and then there's also a paperback option on Amazon. And then for those who'd like to order directly from me, so Tlhalefo has special pages both on TikTok and Instagram. It's Tlhalefo, the Whisper of Hope Beyond Brokenness, or you can just follow me on my personal account. I'm Rosi Molefe everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And just DM me, and the book goes for 300 rands. Yes. Thank you.